Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for a DC and indie review. And as you can see here, I'll be covering Action Comics issue 1093 alongside with Defenders of the Earth by Dan Didio, moving into the next volume, which is called Dark Destiny. I'll now get things ready and organized for the first one that will be reviewed. So first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? It certainly does, to which I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the area of the internal art as we have a look around the beginning, the middle and of course the end, and also what is happening story-wise with the characters. So as the story begins, we catch up with Clark Kent, who is also catching up with Lana Lang and that. In the page before this, we get to see a foreclosure notice in relation to the Kent household. And of course, the questions come up. What does Clark do about it to try to save the home? So jumping to this page, because I chose to use some of this for the thumbnail, to which he ends up going out of his way, finding some gold to try to save the household for them. Of course, he does get sort of disciplined in the area of this, sort of indicating that maybe what he done was sort of like a little bit too fast, a little bit too drastic. But there are also other ways to which problems like this can be solved. So whilst this is occurring, as Clark Kent Superboy is going out of his way to still like save people around the world and whatever, and along with following certain people to see if they're doing right or doing wrong, until last but not least, we see that there are plans to turn Superboy into a super soldier. For the internal art, I give it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the story rating, to which the story rating includes references to previous comics, time, location, and cast. First things first, do we get anything reference-wise? The answer is no, we don't. Next is time, to which we have many years ago, followed along by the next day in those many years ago. Moving to the next thing, which is the location, to which we get to see things happening around Smallville as well as Metropolis. And there are some events taking place in the location known as Modora. Last but not least, the cast of characters consisting of Mara Park Kent, Lana Lang, Clark Kent Superboy. We also had Janie mentioned by name. And of course, and someone known as Morgan Stone, who is playing a part in the foreclosure of many farms in the area. My overall rating for this is a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move into Defenders of the Earth, Dark Destiny, issue 1. So first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? It does, to which I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the internal art, as we have a look around the beginning, the middle, of course the end, and also what is happening story-wise with the characters. One thing I really like about this issue, which I really have to point out, even though this is around the beginning of the story, is that we get a whole list of the cast of characters that are actually going to be seen in this story, but also quite likely seen in this arc. And of course, we start to see our 4 main heroes, consisting of Lothar, the Phantom, Mandrake the Magician, and of course Flash Gordon. As we start to move towards the middle of the story, we see that they get a little bit of help from the Hawkmen. But whilst this is occurring, we get to see basically their, not just offspring, but also their apprentices have also been asked to do a mission, which takes place here, to which we get to see Kashin, Zufi, Lothar, Rick, and Jeddah. We do return to the main heroes in the story. I do really wish some of the art was slightly improved a little bit more here. And of course, preparing for the next issue. For the internal art, I give it a 7 out of 10. Next is the area of the story rating. So first things first, do we get anything time-wise? The answer is no, we don't. Next is the locations that we get to see in the story, to which we get to see Mongo, we get to see Earth and the location of Ireland, and one other, of course, Mandrake's mansion on Earth. Next, we have the cast of characters consisting of Flash Gordon, the Phantom Mandrake, Lothar, Rick Gordon, Jeddah, Kashin, LJ, Zufi, Kurt Walker, Crotan, Ming, the Merciless. We also had the Hawkmen and Endama. My overall rating for this story is a 7 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.